Hi, everyone. Welcome to Type Talks. Today we have Dr. Eve DeLunas with us, and we're here to talk about why ENFJs love other ENFJs. And so, Eve, would you like to enlighten us?
Sure. And I really liked having this assignment because it really made me think a lot. First of all, to notice how many ENFJs I have as friends, and I'm married to one for 35, almost 36 years. And so it made me aware, wow, I really surround myself with a number of ENFJs. I have two of my closest friends are ENFJs that have been friends, one for 30 years and one for over 40 years. So apparently, ENFJs are really important in my life, and I thought a lot about it. And one thing that I find that all of them have in common, I tried to find things that all of them have in common when I thought about this. One thing is that they're all very heart centered. I love that about them. They they're loving people. They're very compassionate towards everyone, no matter who you are. Um, they are very supportive and understanding, caring, and to such an extent that I think that that's one of their most glowing qualities that I love, about them. One other thing I really appreciate about them is that they are really great listeners. They listen deeply. It's the best way I can say it. And if I have something that's troubling me, really, I've been ruminating about it, or I find if I talk to any of these three people about that issue, they often help me, almost always help me find a new perspective, a new, more uplifting way of looking at it. I can say with almost certainty I will feel better after having talked to them. They know how to not only listen deeply, but they don't just try to fix my problem or dismiss it. They know how to demonstrate, have empathy, help me hear myself better, and also find a new way of seeing the situation that is more helpful. Another thing I really like about them is that they are really big picture thinkers. And like me, they love to explore abstract concepts, abstract topics, especially having to do with how can we help people, how can we make the world a better place for all living things. And I enjoy talking about those topics with them because they tend to be very open. They're very let's see, unconventional often in their ideas, which is stimulating and exciting to me. Um, they're always reading and learning and growing. So I'm never bored with these people, even though I've known them for 40 years. There's not a moment that I feel like, oh, this is the most boring conversation we're having if we happen to be talking. And I don't have to be talking with them either, even though we're all extroverts. If we're together, if I'm together with one or another, my husband, for example, we'll spend most of the day almost not communicating at all, but it's very harmonious, it's very comfortable. I love that they typically enjoy the same books and the same people and the same movies. So we have a lot of that in common and share that. They're always open to new ideas, and they're really interested in people in other cultures. My husband is typical of this. He is always meeting new people, and he values everyone. And so, like, he came home yesterday from Lowe's, and he's made like 4 trips to Lowe's in the last week because we are doing this project, or I should say, he's doing the project. Um, and the outdoors in our backyard. And he came home, and by now, the checkout person he sees when he goes to Lowe's in the morning, he knows her name, he knows something about her story, and he really cares about her. And he enjoys interacting with her and kind of lifting her day. And that's just who he is. That's how he functions. Um, all of these people have a great sense of humor. My husband is one of the funniest people I have ever met. And his humor is he sees humor in lots of different things, and he comes up with one-liners often that just make me crack up. And but he also is a great storyteller. He really knows how to tell a story, and to the point that it's fun to laugh so much. Uh, the other thing about I think about with my husband, I had partners in my life before who were they would say and do things that embarrassed me when we were around other people sometimes. Like the worst example I have is I had a person that I dated for a while, and I introduced him to a beloved former high school teacher of mine. And this is when I was really young, in my 20s. And this teacher was not very well. He was older now, retired, just a loving, amazing human being. And my friend suggested to this guy that he lose weight. It was like, what? You just met this man and you're telling him that he needs to lose weight? That was horrifying to me. But the ENFJs in my life never, ever have those kinds of slip ups. And I know they get along with everyone. They might not love everyone like deeply, but they can find a place of connection. On the flip side, they're very stable and responsible and reliable. I love that about them too. If they say, we're going to meet at this time on this day on Zoom, they're there. I don't have to think, will they remember? Will they really be there, etc. So I appreciate that about them. They are also very ethical people. They look at themselves a lot. They do a lot of self-examination, and they strive to be the best self they can be. And I appreciate that quality in people as well. So there are lots of other things I could say, but those seem like the highlights.
It is true that ENFJs, they have a compassion to them and they make people feel cared about. They tend to want to be very considerate, so it's unlikely that they'll be very emotionally tone deaf unless they're trying to help someone and they accidentally misread them and might jump in too fast. But it's out of love and support, like a desire to support. So typically, ENFJs are very kind, empathic, in tune with your needs, and are a great listening ear that can really provide you heart food. And so they
That's a
also,
great way to say it. I like that.
yeah, and they also get your NF-ness, so they won't shoo away your woo-woo-ness. In fact, they
Mhm.
understand how to speak it, so they don't consider it woo-woo. Like they see the value in it, and there is this understanding they have with the bridge between psychology and spirituality with a lot of ENFJs too. And so you can talk about topics you wouldn't naturally be able to talk about in just any setting. And so there is this openness of minds together because you can really show the side of yourself that is super NF. And so you can discuss ideals together or your NF vision for how things could be better or how to make a difference in the world with someone who understands, with someone who shares possibly the same desire to see a better world too. And so ENFJs are more likely to have this desire to want to know how to love people better, to know how to make the world a place where all living beings can be respected or seen with dignity. And so
Mhm.
there is this
Mhm.
tenderheartedness in vision that is shared with ENFJ to ENFJ relationships.
I would agree. Yeah, that's beautifully said, and that's absolutely true. And we can talk woo woo with each other, and it's totally understood. It's not questioned and discounted, or they don't make you feel uncomfortable. Also, they're very supportive. My husband is the most supportive husband you could ask for ever, because I come up with some crazy ideas about things I want to try or do, a class I want to take, a program I want to attend, whatever. And in 35 and a half years, he's never said, oh, do you have to? Or, oh, why are you doing that? Or discounted in any way. He always says, that's a great idea. How exciting. Or, oh, it sounds like it's something you really want to do. When will you be doing it? and not that I have to ask his permission, but when you're in a relationship, you share those things and you make decisions together sometimes that are going to influence the other one if you're going to be gone for weeks or whatever. So I appreciate that about them. And we don't have conventional gender roles in our house either. Which we used to laugh. We lived in Germany for a long time, and a lot of German households have very conventional gender roles, and like the women wash the windows, and in our house, my husband washes windows. He's better at it, and he likes doing it, and in Germany, the men take the trash out. And at least in the people that were in the villages we lived in, these were kind of small villages, so. And in our relationship, I take the trash can out to the curb or shovel the snow because that's just something I like to do. So that's something to be reminded of too. That there's room for things to be unconventional in ENFJ relationship at least.
Yeah. And so being in an ENFJ relationship allows you permission to be non-traditional. So you don't have to operate off of the mainstream culture or how things should be in how it's been done before. An ENFJ with an ENFJ can give each other permission to live outside of the escalator of life where they have certain milestones you need to reach or certain ways of behaving. So when two NFs are together, they give themselves permission to live in a lifestyle which suits their humanness the most without the need to apply unnecessary labels that might constrain the quality of their life. So it's like, well, if you like doing that, then you should be able to do that. And there's no past precedent that should keep you from the role that suits you the most. So it's almost like we don't have to adhere by the rules of society or the systemic things that may not work for us. And you allow each other to carve a less conventional path together because you realize that for the two of you, you may have thought a little bit differently than the people around you, or it might have been a little fundamentally different than the situations around you. So you know that that cookie cutter solution just doesn't work for you because you're just wired differently. So NFs give each other permission to embrace ways of living that other people may feel like you have to do things in a certain way. So you get to defy tradition with another individual who also is okay with that too, and actually is happier in that way too. Because oftentimes NFs live non-traditionally, or there's the desire for them to. Because for a lot of them, they have more spiritual bents, or they're like, this main way that people do it, it lacks a soul. And so they try to find a way of doing it that has more soul. And with another NF, they understand that drive to live more soulfully. And so you're allowed to adopt practices that fit you more as a person rather than going with the way that things are typically done. They allow you more space to cultivate an environment that is soul replenishing. And so thank you, Eve, for telling us about the wonderful things that you appreciate about ENFJs. Feel free to check out her podcast. It's called The Abundance Zone, and I'll have it linked below. And thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.